Hello, my name's Adam Groves from OneClimate.net, and I'm going to try and explain the UN climate negotiation process. There's a lot to cover and I've only got 3 minutes, so let's start with a metaphor. Imagine you're joining a group of friends for tapas. When the bill comes, the simplest solution would be to divide it evenly, but not everyone agrees. Some people arrive late, some people ate more than their fair share, some barely touched their food. Should we expect everyone to pay the same?
Keep going.
It sounds strange, but it's not actually that different to what happens at the UN Climate Talks. Starting November 28th, negotiators from 193 countries will gather in Durban, South Africa for 2 weeks of really intense talks. The ultimate goal is a legally binding, fair, ambitious global climate change treaty. Among other things, it needs to set emissions targets which are measurable and enforceable, and it needs to limit global temperature increase to less than 2 degrees Celsius. This is the 17th time that they've attempted this task. This year, success will hinge on what happens to the Kyoto Protocol and the Climate Fund. Kyoto is the only binding climate law that we have on reducing emissions, and its current commitment period runs out on December the 31st, 2012. Countries participating in Kyoto need to agree a second commitment period, and they need to negotiate a mandate for a more comprehensive deal that includes all major emitters in the near future. The other big topic on the table is funding for climate action. This will be used to help countries adapt to the unavoidable impacts of climate change. Last year, the Cancun Agreement created the fund. Now, to really start working, it needs to be filled with money. Developing countries think that rich countries should provide the bulk of the funding. Rich countries, unsurprisingly, disagree. Even the most optimistic among us don't expect a full deal in Durban. Some people say we shouldn't expect a deal until 2020. Now, we could keep pushing back the deadline indefinitely, but the fact remains, climate change won't stop happening, emissions won't stop increasing, and when we do eventually set targets, they'll be even harder to meet in order to preserve the world we want. More and more people are embracing the concept of a low-carbon future. To get there, we'll need to act decisively and immediately. The UN process is the only place where the world comes together on a level playing field to make that happen. Sound impossible? Maybe. But to quote South Africa's Nelson Mandela, it always sounds impossible until it's done.